My name's Adam Natali, and I'm the director of SVA Theater, part of the School of Visual Arts. How many of you, it's your first time here at SVA Theater? Welcome. I love that. So welcome. Hope to see you back a lot more after this. This is part of School of Visual Arts After School Special Festival. This is the third year we've been doing it. It's an absolutely free festival that is all about the alumni of School of Visual Arts, which is an art and design school if you weren't aware of it. So today we're featuring Beauty and the Beast, a special 25th anniversary screening. So how many of you saw it in the theaters like I did? And how many of you have your kids with you now? Thank you. That's awesome. That's incredible. I'm so excited. I love this movie. It's one of my favorites. I wanted to do an anniversary screening of it this year, and I didn't think we were going to be able to get the rights from Disney because they're doing a lot of stuff and it's locked in the vault, but they were very fortunately, we were able to get it, and it's partly because one of the animators actually quite a few of the animators went to school here at School of Visual Arts, and after the screening, we're going to Skype in one of those animators from Los Angeles. His name is Tom Sito. He's a graduate of our BFA animation program, and he's a hugely successful cartoonist and animator. He did She-Ra, he did He-Man, he did a lot of Disney movies, and he's an incredible guy. So I hope you'll stick around afterwards, especially if you have some budding animators in the audience who might be interested in animation. But also I have to say, we have some other screenings this afternoon. If you want to stick around, there's a great documentary happening in here after this called Trans Fatty Lives. And then we're going to screen the Emmys on the big screen if any of you are awards buffs and want to watch that. But today concludes our 3-day festival. We'll have it again next year. We have a lot of other free events throughout the year. But first, we're going to open with a little short before this film called Taking the Plunge. It's an animated short that was made by 4 BFA computer art, computer animation, and visual effects alumni. And I want to bring them up here for a very quick Q&A before the film so they can tell you a little bit about it. The moderator for that Q&A and our moderator for Tom afterwards, he's a current SVA student. His name is Branko Kijajic, and I want to bring him and the animators Taking the Plunge up. So come on up. We have Nick Manfredi, Thaddaeus Andreades, Marie Raoult, and Elizabeth Ku-Herrero. So we're going to do a few questions with them and then start the show.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey guys, so is it working? Yes, okay, cool. I'm the moderator, and I just want to say congratulations on your film, guys. It is amazing, and you got so much awesome press on it. I just had a couple of questions, and my first one would probably be, I'm from BFA Animation, and usually our thesis films are done just by ourselves. What made you guys team up, do a 4-person team for this?
I'm going to take this one.
Go for it, Liz.
So in computer animation, our junior year, we team up and we do a small project. Oh, sorry. Our sophomore year, we do a small film. Our junior year, we do a small film. And then senior year, we do our big thesis film. And our sophomore year, Thaddeus and Nick teamed up together, and they made an incredible film together. But I think what we learned from it was they were a very level-headed team. They were always helping each other out, and they were just very positive people. It just kind of radiated from them. And then their third year, Marie, Thaddeus, and I worked together for our junior project, and we learned that we just really clicked together. We were equally as ambitious, and we had similar work ethic. So after that happened, it was kind of such a beautiful moment that we realized, okay, we have something here. We can't really walk away from this now knowing what we're capable of. And we have, an amazing animator, an amazing character rigger. I was a look development artist, and we really wanted someone who was powerful with the camera. And knowing their dynamic, it was perfect for our group because they're so level-headed and kind. And Maria and I are super passionate, let's go, let's go, go, go. So we always thought it was just the perfect combination of.
We were a good balance.
Yes.
We balanced each other out well.
cool, awesome. So it was just like years and years of you guys getting to know each other through making films. That's pretty awesome. Second question, how is life after graduation, and how's the film doing?
Just go down the line.
Hello. Well, for some reason, people seem to like it, which is wonderful for us. We're kind of too close to it to really know what it looks like, but that's great. So that's been really nice. Out of school, I think the number one thing has just been how nice everybody is in our industry and how wonderful it is to just work on how some of the best parts of work is working on a good team with good people, regardless of what you're working on. Although cool work is good too. But yeah, I think for me that's been the main thing.
Do you want to I've just been freelancing around Manhattan since the film came out, but yeah, as Thaddeus said, well, we've been very lucky that we've been able to travel to different festivals and meet fellow artists, and the takeaway is always how passionate everyone is and how kind everyone is, and it kind of instills like, yeah, of course I want to be part of this and continue because it's such a positive environment. So
I second that. Right now, I'm working at a stop-motion animation studio called Laika. Their last film came out, Kubo and the Two Strings. Go see it! So that's been an amazing experience. Once again, this studio is on the other side of the country, and you find people that are connected with our industry. Everyone knows each other, and again, it's such kind people. And I'm looking forward to the future, though. Fortunately, we have a job where you could do it anywhere in the world, and I'm really hoping that I'll get the chance to travel and meet new people and work on more films. And yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, for me, like everybody else was saying, the through line is that everybody seems to be really nice in animation. Everybody who we meet, we've been very fortunate. We've gotten to go to a lot of festivals and travel a lot with the film, which is surreal for us because we're animators, so we're very used to just being locked in a room and working on it and not really thinking about the outside world and festivals and things like that. But it's fun that this is our job. We get to be kids every day, and we get just as excited. We're all really excited to see Beauty and the Beast, like really excited to see Beauty and the Beast. So, this is our job. It's great. We're really, really lucky and fortunate. And right now I'm currently working at a studio that does planning for big feature films for things like Pirates of the Caribbean type stuff, or Jurassic Park, or Avengers, like those type of big movies. Anyway, so I'm down in Atlanta right now, working there, and I'm up for the weekend to be here with all of you.
Well, thank you for answering my questions. I wish we had more time, but we gotta watch the films now. So we're gonna be showing, yeah, clap, go ahead. So now we're going to get off the stage, get out of the way, and we're going to watch their film, Taking the Plunge, and right after we're going to go straight into Beauty and the Beast, and then right after that we're going to be talking to animator Tom Sito. So, thanks.
woo.
Just want to tell you a little bit about Tom, as we're calling him in. He lives in the Los Angeles area now because he's the chair of animation at the University of Southern California at USC. So he's starting up school now. His 30-plus movie credits includes Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, The Lion King, Pocahontas, Osmosis Jones, and Shrek. In addition, he worked on 20-plus television series, including The Super Friends, which was one of my favorites growing up with Batman and Superman, He-Man, and She-Ra. Tom was awarded the June Foray Award in 2011 for a lifetime of service to the animation community. He has lectured on animation around the world and is president emeritus of the Animation Guild Local 839 Hollywood, a member of the Motion Picture Academy of Arts and Sciences, the National Cartoonist Society, and the Hyperion Historical Alliance. He's the author of several books, including Drawing the Line, The Untold Story of the Animation Unions from Bosco to Bart Simpson, Timing for Animation 2nd Edition, and Moving Innovation, A History of Computer Animation. So, if we're ready to go, without further ado, live from California, here is animator Tom Sito. I don't have magical Disney powers. There he is. So welcome, Tom Sito, and your moderator for today. He's going to be communicating with Tom. Is Bronco's back, and in a little bit he'll ask for audience questions, and you can all line up behind him. So take it away, Bronco.
Hey Tom, how's it going?
Good.
So we got a pretty good.
Shameless plug.
Oh. Well, we got a pretty good applause right now after the film. Everyone pretty much loved it. I'm pretty sure everyone clapped. Not sure if everyone did. But I got some questions for you if you're ready.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I know that you were working on Beauty and the Beast from the very beginning. How was that?
Well, in 1988, when we were finishing Who Framed Roger Rabbit in London, we were walking into the office of our producer, Don Hahn. And Don threw a treatment at me, a 10-page treatment, and said, "What do you think? Walt Disney presents Beauty and the Beast." And me, with my wisdom and foresight, said, "Well, that's not a great idea. It's a play about two people having dinner, and one of them's got a dog nose on. There's going to be a lot of songs, and it's going to be really good, and all the dishes are going to sing and dance." And I'm like, "So Betty Boop did that. Big deal. It's like turned out much better than I thought. Actually, it's funny that supposedly I've never found it, but somewhere in the Walt Disney archives, there's supposed to be a yellowing old memo from Walt Disney himself, where he made a list of all the feature film, all the ideas, fairy tales that would make a great animated film, and all the ones that wouldn't and you shouldn't do. And top list of the don't do was Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, then my second question that's a good segue to it. Did much of the movie change from beginning to end? Because, I mean, if it was a bad idea to start with, how did you guys make it into a good idea?
Well, it evolved over a period of a couple of years. Like we take a long time developing the story. Originally, originally Maurice was married, and Belle had a stepmom who didn't like her. And originally, Gaston had a mustache. And she also had a cat. And she had a little sister named Clarice. And all this stuff just kind of weighed on the story, and it took forever for her to actually get to the Beast's castle and be alone with the Beast. Like I think the first draft script, Beauty and the Beast don't look each other in the eye till page 32. Which, if you understand movie scripts, 1 page equals 1 minute in screen time. So it's a half hour into the movie, and your main characters haven't seen each other yet, and you're like, this is kind of So we had to cut a lot of stuff, and that's where the late Howard Ashman, really came to the fore as a hero, where he just wrote so much beautiful stuff, and really took the command of the production. The first song. There goes the baker with his bread, like always. That one. The Bells song. He really lays out the whole plot in the first 5 minutes. So it's in the song. Like previously musicals, you'd have the plot, and then everybody would stop and do a song. And in this one, Howard actually works the plot into the songs. So in the very first song, you find out, I'm Belle, I live here, but I want to do something else. I'm Gaston. I love Belle. She doesn't like me. I don't care. I'm gonna marry her anyway. And and that sort of lays everything out. And that's really the genius of Howard Ashman.
Right, yeah, actually I noticed during that sequence when she was talking about her book is talking about a Prince Charming who's in disguise. And so it's kind of just like foreshadowing the whole film, which is super interesting to me. And another thing I loved about the movie was when the Beast starts becoming nicer, he just becomes goofy. Like he goes from very, very scary to just hilariously goofy, trying to impress Beauty, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, what's fun is in the animation process, like I did some storyboard on it besides animating, and a lot of the a lot of times people will add lines or suggest lines that may not be in the original script. So from the original writer, there's this great scene when the Beast feels sad and says, I've been so mean to her up to this point. I want to do something. I want to be nice to her and give her something. And Cogsworth says, well, there's the usual in these occasions: flowers, chocolates, promises you don't intend to keep. Yeah, it's a very funny little line. So the origin of that scene is Glenn Keane said, we need a scene where the Beast feels genuinely sad that he's been so mean to her, and wants to give her something. And another animator named Bruce Johnson came up with flowers, chocolates, and something very funny. And David Ogden Stiers, the voice of Cogsworth, improvised promises you don't intend to keep at the microphone at the recording session. So it's like everybody but the screenwriter throwing lines, and which is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it when they do that. Like, improv is my favorite way to figure out lines for a film. Now, I do have more questions, but I'm going to need my handy dandy cards because I forgot my questions. So what were the challenges, some of the challenges for making the film?
Well, musicals are always tough and everything because everybody's, it has to be entertaining, but you don't want to stop the plot. So you want to keep everything moving, all singing, all dancing, a lot of singing dishes and stuff. And some of the very, very early CG. I mean, people don't realize this, but Beauty and the Beast came out at the same time as Terminator 2. I mean, Pixar had just barely begun to make Toy Story at this point. So really there wasn't a lot of computer graphics in movies yet, just some visual effects stuff. So the ballroom sequence where they built that ballroom and turned it around, that was very complicated with the technology at the time, and that was considered a breakthrough, in computer graphic history. I was talking with Ed Catmull, who's the head of the Disney studio and Pixar. We were talking about the great breakthroughs in computer graphics. And, we would say, obviously, Toy Story, and obviously say Jurassic Park and all. But he said the Beauty and the Beast, the ballroom sequence, that was a very big deal. All that, when that room turns around like that. And James Baxter was the animator who was moving around, Belle and the Beast when they're waltzing. A funny story is when the Beast turns back into a human being at the end, Glenn Keane, the animator, was looking at Bernini's the Passion of Saint Teresa. I think is this beautiful Baroque, of this character that's expiring but in ecstasy while there's an angel standing over, and so he was studying the drapery and everything of the Baroque artist. And then when they were going over the scene with the producer, our producer Jeffrey said, Glenn had thumbnailed out all this when it's turning in the air and she's turning into a human being. And our producer Jeffrey said, well, I like all the effects stuff, but don't do any of that turning in the air garbage. That looks stupid. And as I'm walking out of the meeting, Glenn's got this sour look on his face, and I said, what are you going to do? And he goes, I'll sell him. And he did. He talked him into it, and the sequence, is untouched. But there's always that creative battle of is this working? Is this not working? Let's try this. Let's try that. And it's and it's always kind of fun. When Glenn was designing the Beast, he said, I don't want it to just look like an actor with a mask. I want it to feel like it could be an animal. So he gave him the legs of a quadruped, of a four-legged animal, like a horse or something. So he can't possibly be a human being. And gave him the back of a buffalo, so just kind of like the neck part and all. And every once in a while he'll go down on all fours and run around. So there was a bunch of things like that. That was a lot of fun. There also was a footstool we wound up not that had a bigger role, wound up not using. And also a music box. But then Chip, the little cup, became very important. That became a very big thing at that point. So the films are like that. They're sort of kinetic sculptures that keep changing.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's a collaborative effort, so obviously it just keeps coming from everyone, different ideas. I also wanted to ask, did you expect this film to be as successful as it was?
No. We were like we were riding high after Little Mermaid. And then we thought, well, Belle isn't as as warm as Ariel was, and so will people like it as much, and we were kind of concerned about that. And then when it hit so big and became such a giant hit, and what we were amazed about was a lot of times that those first few weeks, you would go to a movie theater on a weeknight at like a 10:30 show, and there'd be no children, it'd be all adults, and it'd be, sold out. And we thought, this is a date movie. Like, I don't think we expected that, that adults would go see, because the conventional wisdom at that point was that grown-ups won't go see a cartoon. And here's like it's become an event for date night.
Right. No, that's amazing. It's a great turnout for it. I do have one more question, but after that, we're going to be opening questions to the audience. So if you want to ask a question, line up behind me. My last question would just be like, how was the SVA in the 70s? How different was it? Because that's the one that's weighing on my mind.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have that cool theater and everything. We just had the amphitheater, on in the 23rd Street building. I think there was only the 23rd Street building and the 21st Street building, and that was it. There was nothing else. When I started in 1973 was the first year that they started computer printout of your curriculum, of your schedule, and it's constantly breaking down. And like you'd have to catch Dave Rhodes in the hallway with a pen, and he would like, Dave, they put me in sewing, and he's like, but it was a lot of fun. Which I remember my teacher, my animation teacher, underneath the large sign that said absolutely no smoking a cigarette while he was teaching. Like, you can't do that anymore. That's not allowed. But it was an exciting time. There's a lot of great artists. I had a chance to train under Harvey Kurtzman, who's the creator of Mad Magazine, and Will Eisner, and of course Howard Beckerman was still there. God bless Howard. He's great. So it was a wonderful time.
Awesome. Well, you have a question?
A sort of a mixed question.
Go ahead.
Just a few things there in the scene when Belle's up on the hill. It reminds me very much of Gone with the Wind. Then the whole thing sort of has a Frankensteinish kind of kill the Frankenstein monster bit. But how do you also get the emotions that make me cry every time I see this movie? So that to me is incredible. I mean, you love them. You feel their love. You feel they're real. How do you get that going with animated characters? With any characters in movies.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, a lot of those Howard Ashman, and a lot of his ideas, and then also, our creative executive Jeffrey Katzenberg was really pushing for, the movie should have a strong emotional center. Jeffrey used to say cake before cream. He says that cream is the jokes. He says, you cartoon people, I know you can do jokes. He says jokes is not a problem. Yeah, he says we got to get people to love these two. We got to believe they can fall in love with one another, and that's the hard one. The key scene, the key song of I think there's something there that wasn't there before. That's where they really fall in love, because they don't like each other going into the song, and they liking each other by the time they do Beauty and the Beast, the actual song. That one, they go, oh, okay, they're actually like attracted to one another, and the turn starts to happen during that song, and in showbiz terms, you call that laying pipe, which is that we have to make it, rational, so that you could believe that, oh yeah, she is falling in love with him.
Yeah, something changed. There's something changing. Yeah. Okay. Was there the Gone in the Wind scene in there, or am I imagining that?
No, it's probably there for a reason. We put that in, and any kind of illusion. Actually, I put in a joke. I put in a joke to Sergei Eisenstein, which is during the battle between the peasants and the furniture. There's a down shot in a staircase, and you see a baby buggy going down the stairs. And,
yeah. Oh, I gotta check it out. That's great. It's really wonderful.
What?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to say? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just going to suggest that one thing about and it's the same thing in our film as in the Cocteau Beauty and the Beast is that Belle always looks a little let down when he turns into a real boy, to a human being at the end. She's because even in the Cocteau version, it's the same thing. She's a little like but there was a line we had for a long time that we wound up cutting at the last minute, and that is when the camera's panning back and the two of them are waltzing and they're singing Beauty and the Beast. One of the directors wanted to put in Belle saying, "Don't take this the wrong way, but could you grow a beard?" Yeah, well, and then we cut it. I'm like, no. So go ahead.
Did you have a favorite shot or scene that you animated after seeing it all together? Was there something that you're like, oh wow, that's cool, I got to do that?
Yeah, yeah. I think my favorite section was I animated the Beast and Belle eating breakfast in the morning, and when he has his mouth full of oatmeal, and he lifts up his head with his huge cheeks all puffed up, and he looks at her like, what? So interesting. And I remember the director was worried it's a little too much, and he said, and then Glenn was like, "No, it's going to be funny. Don't worry, it's going to work." It is. And then when you show it to audiences, and he gets a really big laugh, and I was like, "Oh, okay, good. That one worked."
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hi.
So here's my question. I've seen this film so many times I have it basically memorized. In the same breakfast scene we were just talking about when the Beast and Belle were eating, I noticed the cups there looked incredibly futuristic. I'm not talking about Chip or Mrs. Potts or any of them. I'm talking about the gray cups with those blue and green rectangular patterns. It looks as though they were taken right out of the 1964 World's Fair and placed on the table. Is that a hidden Easter egg? These films are full of Easter eggs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think what we had to do was that in the beer in the Be Our Guest scene, we used like very early computer graphics to have like cups and saucers dancing around, and we had to give them a simplified pattern because at the time that was the best computer could do, and design wise, the time period we picked was France, the Loire Valley around 1708. And so we're using, which is a very decorative period. I mean, the French, the Limoges enamels and stuff. There's a lot of beautiful, decorative design, but we had to go simple in order to match the computer animation.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. I couldn't help noticing. I've worked for Disney before, so.
Ah,
Anyway, congratulations on the film.
thank you. Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. Have a magical day.
Yeah, you too.
Hi, my name is E. Harris, and I've been watching Disney since I was a young girl. And now that I'm older, I'm still watching the Disney channels, and I appreciate the animation and the creators of the movies that are out today. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for being so creative. And what is your real name? What is your name?
My name? Okay, it's Tom Sito. Yeah. Yeah, I'm originally from Brooklyn. So it's like my dad was a firefighter, went to SVA. So,
Yeah, I can see
yeah.
that in you. I can see that you have a dad that could very well have been FDNY, sure, in your demeanor. Couple things here. One, I see some real parallels between an all-time classic film, King Kong, and Beauty and the Beast. I think in particular the scene where the Beast fights off the wolves, and that's where there's a bonding between Belle and the Beast. And I think that's where we saw the first bonding between the damsel in distress with King Kong when he fought off the beasts in the jungle. So one question I have is if you think there could have been an inspirational nugget for Beauty and the Beast that derived from King Kong. And then the second thing is there are so many moving parts with any animated film, obviously. Do you think that this particular endeavor here, because this was so beautifully done, I thoroughly enjoyed today's film, do you think that there was a higher difficulty level, perhaps, in pulling this off than, say, something like Little Mermaid? Fantastic job, by the way, fantastic job.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, yeah, yeah. What we tried to do is that we tried to challenge ourselves each time. Mermaid was the last traditionally painted film. Was the last film painted on acetates with physical paint. Beauty was a digital one. In between was Rescues Down Under, which was the first one that was done all digitally. But Beauty was digitally painted, and things like the very first scene when we pan away, when we slowly pull away from the windows of the castle, and the camera just keeps going like 2-3 miles away, and you see this gigantic castle in the distance. That was deliberately set up to be as complicated as possible. And I remember the layout artist, a guy named Daniel St. Pierre, used to walk past my office and lean in and smile and go, "I crashed the computer again." But, we kept trying to push things, and trying, like our producers would say, "Are we breaking ground here? Are we breaking new ground?" Because we wanted, with each film, to move, the technology forward, as well as the filmmaking itself.
Right. Well, I think this film is going to bring a lot of joy to a lot of people. I thank you very much for it.
Thank you.
Hi. Did it come to you with a complete shock when they decided to bring Beauty and the Beast to Broadway?
It was a surprise, yeah, because we were, in our department, we were just focused on doing animation, and we're just focused on the next movie, and all. And at Disney's, we didn't really do sequels too much. I know, like the television unit would take over, Belle's Magic Christmas and some of the TV stuff, but the feature team, would just keep going on to the next picture. So it was interesting, but then it does kind of make sense because Ashman and Menken and a lot of the people we were using were all veteran Broadway people. Jerry Orbach and, Paige O'Hara, who was doing the voices. They were all veteran Broadway. So it only made sense that eventually it would get onto the stage.
Anything to say about the upcoming Beauty and the Beast that Disney is working on?
I know they're remaking everything. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'll look forward to see it. Personally, yeah. I mean, my heart's always with the animation. But if it works out, why not?
All right, thank you.
Okay.
What's your favorite Disney movie?
Oh, goodness. Oh, I see. I like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I like Roger because he's really crazy and he was fun to draw.
He was fun to draw. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
I gotta say, when I watched the movie, I haven't seen it for a long time, and I really enjoyed it. Especially the character Gaston, because he's just so not one-dimensional. He's like any other prince in Disney films. He's just so confident, strong, and handsome. But he's kind of the anti-hero. I mean, the villain, because he's kind of forcing Belle to be his wife. But my question is, what was the development of Gaston's character? What was he different in the beginning?
Yeah, yeah. And in the beginning, he was much more effete, and he had a white powdered wig, and he looked a dandy, and it just looked he was acting more snooty and arrogant than just being macho. And lead animator Andreas Deja was really into, we don't want to think that we want to think that he's more like a man of action. He's more exciting. It was very difficult to figure out. We had a lot of trouble figuring out how to kill him off, because it's like because when you think about it, he's just a guy. I mean, he's a powerfully built guy, but he's going to run into this magic castle and fight this 12-foot Yeti, and you have to feel sorry for the Yeti, and that's hard. So we had to make it sympathetic. We had to make it so that the Beast doesn't want to fight, and Gaston stabs him. And at Disney, we always say the villain has to bring about their own demise. So it can't just be I'm stronger than you, so I'm going to kick your ass. It's like, but the villain has to do something. So Gaston, lunging and stabbing, the beast. Then he falls, and then the wolves get him. So that was like a that. It took us a long time in story to get to arrive at that point.
Oh, also, thank you for making him also very likable. Cause even though he's done kind of terrible stuff to Belle and her dad, I still think he's pretty cool, actually. I mean, can you really blame him? The townsfolk follow whatever he does. Like, let's kill the beast. Like, okay, let's do it. You're a cool guy. Like, I'll follow him. I'm in for it. Yeah, I just love it. He has such a big influence. That's why I love him so much.
I think I was looking around for some old drawings, and I think this is a rough when they were during the song, and some old background, and then we'll see some old find some beast stuff here. Or here's some beast stuff. Whatever, do that, and then a little bit of page of hands. You have to, we always focus on details, so we have to get the hands a certain way, and also. The the other beauty, the other beautiful thing about Gaston was, again too, like Howard's song is a lot of fun, and you really see how much like Howard loved words, and he was so good at it. So it's like no one plots like Gaston, takes cheap shots like Gaston, plans to persecute helpless plots like Gaston. It's really well done,
Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, how are you?
Very good, thanks.
I have 3 quick questions. One, has Disney gotten contacted with you or any of the old crew to be consultants on the new movie?
Yeah, generally they've been working with Don Hahn, who was the producer, and also Kirk Wise and Gary Trousdale, the 2 directors, and I think also Mark Henn, who was like one of the lead animators on Belle, was involved as well. So they have done some consulting with them.
Okay. Did you expect during the process of the movie this is going to be nominated for Best Picture? Did that ever cross your guys' minds?
No, that was a total shock because now we have the category Best Animated Feature. It didn't exist then. This is 1991. The Best Feature category, which I was a big person behind the creation of, occurred in 2001. So all these famous movies like Pinocchio and Bambi and Yellow Submarine and whatever, Iron Giant and stuff, none of them could qualify for this. So when it got a Best Picture nomination, we were like ecstatic. We were just so shocked that had happened. And also it's funny, you could tell a lot of live action actors were a little miffed. They were just like a cartoon. A couple of famous actors said some ingracious things about it. And I remember Paige O'Hara, the voice of Belle, took out a full-page ad in Variety and said, "Hey, don't say this isn't good for actors because it employed 90 members of SAG, and I'm getting my phone calls returned, and Robbie Benson's doing really well off this, so we did pretty good by it." So.
Okay. And last question. So what's going on with Roger Rabbit? Is there going to be a sequel or a remake that you know about?
I know Bob Zemeckis is the only one that could bring that about, and for a long time he didn't want to do sequels. He's warmed up to it since, but the problem was getting Warner Brothers and Disney and Amblin to all collaborate. It's kind of like getting Blackbeard and Captain Kidd to get along. So it all breaks down to rights. They're all fighting with each other. What happened in the 80s was Steven Spielberg had a lot of mojo at Warner Brothers because he had created Tiny Toons and Animaniacs. And so he executive produced those. So he had a lot of oomph at Warner Brothers. And he was friends with Jeffrey Katzenberg, who had a lot of oomph at Disney. And the idea was, let's put Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse face to face. And let's put Donald Duck and Daffy Duck face to face. And that was the selling point that got all the studios to collaborate. But right now it feels like a one-time thing. I wish they would do a sequel because I'd love to see the character live on.
Right. All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm actually an animation freshman here at SVA, and it's all kind of overwhelming but exciting because I'm actually all the way from Jordan.
Oh, wow.
So my question is, do you have any it's cliche, but do you have any words of wisdom for all the animation freshmen here?
Yeah, I'd say success doesn't always go to the best artist, and it doesn't always go to the best hustler. It goes to the stubborn. You just have to not take no for an answer. As soon as you get out of college, it's like those old-fashioned war movies where everybody's charging, you're all going, ah, and then the guy, your friend next to you goes, oh, I'm gonna get a job at my dad's muffler shop. And another one goes, oh, I'm gonna get into motel management. And you're like, no, don't do it. Keep going. Like everybody's out to disappoint you, but you just have to be strong and believe in yourself. And there's plenty of times I applied for jobs that I didn't get. I was turned down by Disney twice, and I got it on the third time, and I finished my career there looking at people's portfolios. So you can win. You just have to believe in your own self, and constantly keep improving, constantly keep getting better. Don't just settle on a style and go, I'm just going to draw this all the time. Because a lot of times you get a portfolio, and a student will have one strong, they develop a character, and they go, this is my character, Farty Arty, and the sketchbook will have 145 pages of Farty Arty, In the meantime, the studio's like, can you sit down and draw SpongeBob? That's what I don't care about Farty Arty. I want to know you can draw SpongeBob. But you can't draw trademark characters. Don't draw name characters. But that's why we look at life drawing so much. We're always, because by looking at life drawing, you can go, okay, this person understands character and structure and perspective, and personality and gesture, and I can see it. The building blocks there. So that's why even digital studios like Pixar, still look at life drawing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
I got this. I got it. You know what? Doesn't matter. I'll kneel a little bit. So that's our last question for you. Thank you so much. There we go. There it is. It's way more comfortable now. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and give my best to the city and everything. I hope everybody's well, and have a wonderful autumn. I always miss autumn in New York City. It's great. It's like over here, it's like 100, and there's probably another brush fire happening. It's like.
Well, thanks, Tom, and thanks, Bronco, and thank you all for coming. If you want to stick around, there's a documentary at 5:30, and then we're showing the Emmys later. Thank you so much for coming. Have a great night.